Hey guys, welcome back. It is Coach Nye. Welcome back to Trinity of Fitness Boot Camp. Listen, I had to take a week off or 2 weeks off after all the training that I was doing and the teaching that I was doing for the 31-day journey through Proverbs. So if you guys did not catch it, go check me out. I did a 31-day Proverbs, journey through Proverbs, right? And it was just about leadership, teaching you some things about yourself. So go check it out if you haven't. So I'm back, right? So I have a lot going on. I got a lot of new material. I got a lot of new things that's about to happen. And I am so excited to bring it to you guys. Another thing that we've just launched is the Coach Nye Production Company. Coach Nye Production Company, that is the overall for everything that is going to be attached up under it. So you guys just get ready. It's a lot going on. So I'm excited. But one thing that I wanted to come on here, and the reason why I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys, because I love to stay connected with you guys, and I love to just be one on one and be transparent because it's so important when we're going through our healing journey or when we're going through life trying to get to the next stage of our success and things like that, we look for people, realistic people, people that's going through it, and it's not oh, it's butterflies and balloons. It's such a beautiful thing. No, no, no. We want to hear the ones that, hey, you got beat up and how did you get back up, right? And so that's what all my content and everything I do is from my true life, my true authentic self. So, one thing that I wanted to share with you guys today is about rest. A lot of us don't understand what rest is. We hear people say rest, even when we have babies, moms, you know how that is when we say, when they tell you rest when the baby's resting. Well, who is going to get done? Especially if you got other kids. Who's going to cook? Who's going to clean the bottles? How am I going to prepare for the next meal? I don't have time. We don't have that time to rest. But I'm here to tell you it's because we've been going about resting the wrong way. So when we think of rest, we think of sleep. That's what we think rest is. When we think of rest, we think of sleeping. Even when God said on the seventh day, he rested, right? Even God rested. It wasn't talking about sleeping. It's about disconnecting from everything that got your attention. That's what it means. So everything that had God's attention in that moment, he was creating the world. He did what he needed to do. He did that and then he disconnected from it. He didn't go back and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should make fish with three eyes. Or maybe I should make fish with one eye. He rested because this is what happens in rest. See, when you're in rest, you're allowing the things to happen naturally in your life, right? You're allowing God to come in and fix those things for you. You're allowing God to come in and give you your next idea. You're allowing God to open up that creative thought process that you have. You're allowing God to solve the solutions that you've been looking for. You're allowing God to help you lead in places that you don't know how to lead. That's what happens when you rest. See, rest is not just about sleeping, baby. You can sleep all day and still feel tired. That's not what resting is. Resting for me, I had to learn that, okay, I need to disconnect from the world. Right? And if you've been following me for a long time, I talk about the material world and I talk about the innate world, right? The true natural world, what God created for us and our true authentic self. That's where our true authentic self live. And in the material world, that's where our survival self live. That's where our survival self was created. So when I learned the difference, right, and then I stepped into my true authentic self, once I stepped into my true authentic self, I realized that, wait a minute, I am in more control of what I got going on in my life than I've ever been, than I ever thought I was, right? All this time you've been living your life by what people tell you to do, how your mom raised you, your dad raised you, everybody raised you, the world raised you to uh to accommodate it, meaning that I need you to be this way so the world can just flow this way with the trends or whatever it is. You get a job, you open up a bank account, and then therefore taxes flow the way it's supposed to flow because that's how the world created it. So it can flow whichever way it is, but it was to work for self, not yourself. What I'm saying is government and everybody else, right? The world. Now, when I stepped into my true authentic self, I realized that I'm in control of my thoughts. I'm in control of my actions. I'm in control of my mind. I can say yay or nay if I like something. I don't know. I no longer go along with the how we used to do it, the people pleasing. We just go along because you'll be the oddball if you don't, and that's how the world survival mode created you that way, so you won't be a problem. But I'm here to tell you, baby, be a problem. Matter of fact, be the whole problem. I became the whole problem because I am in control of me. God created me by myself. He didn't create me with you and the next person and everybody else. No, He created me alone. See, when He created me on that assembly line, He already knew what He needed Coach Now to look like and act like, how He needed her to move, the things that she needed to speak, how she was going to be courageous when it was time for her to do certain things. He created me that way. So, how dare I step into the world of survival mode and stay there, right? So once I stepped into my true authentic self, I learned to rest. And I'm like, you know what? This is not so bad. Resting, I got tired of sleeping because that's what I thought rest was. I got tired of sleeping. Like, ah. And then what happens when that happens? The enemy creeps in and say, okay, you're depressed. And then we start moving because we've told ourselves we're depressed. But baby, when I stepped into my true authentic self, I said, no, I'm not depressed. I don't want to sleep. That's not what's making me tired. What's going to make me successful is I need to listen. So in order to listen, I need to rest. I need to rest my mind. I need to disconnect from everything that the world told me I needed to connect to. I need to disconnect it from the TV. I need to disconnect from the social media, disconnect from the people, disconnect from the work, all this work that I'm doing that I feel like God told me to do all this work and I'm staying up all night and I'm doing this. So I need to disconnect from that. Because one thing that I've learned, and this is how I became so successful in this part of my life, in this stage of my life, the business stage of my life, my self-made self, right? In this stage of my life, how I became so successful is I understood that, wait a minute, all this work that I'm doing, God did give me those ideas, but it wasn't supposed to be done right then and there. See, I was learning and I was healing, right? And I was becoming the best version of myself. But what happened is I was healing, but still bringing over some of my survival skills that people please. I got to hurry up and get this done. Everything was a rush. God gave me an idea and I hurry up and I locked in. And I thought that was a good thing to lock in. And I'm locked in and I'm like, yes. I'm talking about 3 o'clock. I'm disciplined in this staying locked in. But being locked in is of the enemy. This is how the enemy will get you because he'll have you thinking that I'm so focused, I'm doing the right thing, but you're missing the mark because you jumped. And when you jump, this is how the enemy gets you. He gets you to lock in, he gets you to jump, he gets you to go and hurry up, and then you go blame God because you don't see anything of a success of all the work you've done. Like, God, what about me? I did this, but God never told you to execute yet. God gave you the idea, meaning that He gave you the business. He didn't say open the business yet. I'm telling you my testimony. He told me I was going to open a business. I had an idea of what business it was going to be because it's the only business that I'm really good at, physical fitness. I'm good at this. This is what I do. So I jumped and opened the business. 2 years later, I'm like, okay, God, what's going on? I don't see anything. And as the time, those 2 years, God was showing me other things. And all of a sudden I became a speaker. I became an author. I became an instructor. I became a teacher, all these things. And it's like the more and more I stood up in my true authentic self, the more and more what that personal training, it started getting pushed further and further back. But I was still teaching and I was still being an instructor for physical fitness and personal trainer. But what he needed me to do, he told me I was going to have a business. Just hold tight because it was all going to come together. And it did come together. It came together in the timing that it was supposed to come together. But the lesson in that is I needed to learn to rest. And I had to rest and say, okay, wait a minute. Let me just operate. Meaning that don't open the business, start doing the work. And if that I could give anybody any advice, that's what I would tell you. If God gave you the idea to open a business, just start doing the work, right? Start doing the work. The business is going to come because this was the catch to it. A lot of people say when you open a business, it's going to take you 2 years, you're going to lose and to profit and it's this and it's it because that's what the world say. But what God said is do the work. And when it's time to open the business, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be booming. You're going to be working and you're just going to be going, you're going to be going, you're going to be going outside. And it's going to be people that's going to look like, well, how does she open up business? And she just opened up business and she's just booming and she's going on. It's not that. It's not that she's just going, she's been doing the work. See, this is me. I've been doing the work. So now that the Coach and I production company is up and running, I have all the work done. So it can't help but flow. It's impossible for it not to flow. Do you understand? So, but I had to learn to rest, disconnect from everything. I had to listen and wait for God to tell me what the next step was. That's what I had to wait on. God, tell me what the next step is. I rested. I rested. I rested my mind, disconnected from what I thought I needed to do, and I sat back and I allowed God to tell me what's next. I realized I didn't have to rush on anything. That's what resting is. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to hurry up and do. You don't have to hurry up and become. You were already destined to be. Greatness was already in you, but you rush and trying to get where? Let me explain something to you. When you rush and you don't rest, when you don't take the time to just rest, because resting, you're still working. Because I didn't say resting was sleeping, remember? Resting means that you disconnect from the world, the way the world told you to do it. And you just take your time to get where you need to be. So even when I was resting, I was still working, right? But my mind was rested. I wasn't worrying about what it's going to look like in the end, how it's going to come in, how I'm going to do this. What do I need to do? No, I rest my mind. I put no more thought into what I think. I stopped thinking. I think that's what it really was. I stopped thinking. I stopped thinking about, okay, God, this is going to look like this. Oh, God, I ain't ready. Can I do this? I got to do. No, because it was the journey of where I'm going. That's why rest is so important, because I have to have a clear mind as I go through this journey to get to where he need me to be, right? Because I'm going to pick up gems along the way. I'm going to learn things along the way. So when I get to where he need me to be within my, my new endeavor, right? When I get to where I need to be, God is like, okay, it's cool. I can walk straight in it. I'm not worried about anything. Some people call it a test. I'll call them lessons. I don't look at it as a test, because a test, that's what the enemy wants you to say. Oh, it's a test, so you can get nervous. When you take a test, you get nervous. I don't want to fail. You start doubting yourself. But as a lesson, that means I'm learning something so I can be great at it. And so along the way, I just start absorbing, like, okay, I'm doing good. This is amazing. Okay, I got this. And I felt good. So when I start opening doors and walking in doors, I didn't even realize they were doors. Do you understand? I didn't realize that I was there to impress someone, or I was being watched, or I was being sought after. I did not know, because I was in my true, authentic self. I was just doing my work. That's it. See, I was going through and learning lessons, and people were having their eyes on me, and I had no clue, right? Because I was allowing God to control and order my footsteps. And so when I was walking through doors, I didn't even know there were doors. Mm-mm. So for me, like I said, I just wanted to come on here and just uh, share with you guys about rest, because things have picked up so fast now. Yes, I'm going to be doing my weekly podcast with you guys, and I'm still going to try and do my TikTok lives. I'm still going to do my YouTube lives, because I'm teaching over there. Man, I'm doing a Power Within leadership course on YouTube. My YouTube is Chat with Coach Nye. And it is so amazing. I enjoy every piece of it, right? I'm also on Twitch. So I got to the point that I just go ahead and do a live stream across all my platforms. So therefore, I can teach and do what I'm supposed to be doing, and what's needed, right? And here I'm going to come on to share some things with you guys. I'm going to be sharing different things that I went through to become successful, to become the best leader that I can be, right? Learning how to love myself, the different things that I went through to heal. I want to share that with you. And with the Trinity of Fitness Bootcamp, it's the Trinity of Fitness, the spiritual, mental, and the physical, where I'm going to teach you how to heal each area. And I'm also recording some training videos, which is workout videos. I don't like to say the word workout. I like to say training. Because whatever you say and whatever you speak becomes your reality, right? People say workout and they just dread it, like, I don't want to work out. But if I say training, then that makes you want to. get out there, that makes you want to because you're training for a goal. You have a goal in mind and you're going to meet it. So, listen, I want you guys to stay tuned. I'm going to have some more episodes. I'm going to also still be teaching here on the podcast. And then I have another podcast that's going to be a visual podcast. I'm going to have that on YouTube. And on YouTube, it's going to be the Coach Nye Mentorship Lounge. And that's going to be the podcast that I'm going to have over there. I'm going to see if I can link the two, but I'm not sure. But you guys go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube, which is Chat with Coach Nye, and hit the notification bell so you can get the updates when I do go live and when I do post the first episode of the podcast. I got some cool content for that. So, you guys, listen, I want you guys to be great. I want you to rest, disconnect from everything that was once told that you had to be attached to. Listen, the world is going to keep turning. It does not matter what you do, the world will keep turning. It does not matter if you leave this world today, the world will keep turning. Everything will still be operating. That job, something happened to you, they're going to replace you. It does not matter. So, my thing to you is learn how to rest because resting in the resting season is where your inheritance is where the wisdom and the knowledge is to get to the things that you're supposed to have, which is the healed version of yourself. So, listen, as always, if no one told you today, I'm telling you now, I love you and I'm so proud of you. I want you guys to be great, okay? And remember to pour into yourself before you pour into others. Coach Nye is out.